for more on the markets, we're now being joined by Dr. Vikas Singh. Dr. Singh is a senior economist and columnist and TEDx speaker, and he's joining us live from Hyderabad. Thank you so much for joining us on WION, Dr. Singh, and welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Right, and Dr. Singh, my first question to you is that will the stellar run that we've seen in 2023 in global markets, will that continue in 2024 as well?
It's likely to continue for the next couple of years. I think we are at the beginning of the bull market, but our viewers should also understand that bull markets are never linear. There will be ups and downs, but it's quite certain, knowing what's been happening in the last 6 months or so, that we are at the beginning of the bull run.
Right, Dr. Singh, you talk about we are at the beginning of the bull run, but help us understand as to what are the broad risks for 2024 when it comes to the markets.
So at the global level, there are a couple of big risks. One of the big risks is that I think about 64 countries are going for election in the next 1 year, and we don't know. It's difficult to predict who's going to be in power. Particularly, what's going to happen in the US is going to determine largely what will happen to the global economy. So that's one big risk. The other big risk that most of us can never predict is the geopolitical risk. Russia and Ukraine war has been factored in, but what's not been factored in is what happened between Hamas and Israel. So hopefully we're going to have a very peaceful time. So that's a couple of risks that we must factor in. The third risk, and maybe that will benefit India, is what's going to happen in China. The good days of China is certainly over. China is not going to grow at 6%, 7% that they are accustomed to. Their growth will be limited. So in that sense, the global economy is not likely to grow more than 2 or 3%. However, the risk of recession is more or less factored in. It's unlikely that we're going to have a global recession in the next year or so.
Right, Dr. Singh, you speak of how the ongoing two wars, the Israel-Hamas war and the Ukraine-Russia war, they will impact the markets, and you speak of recession as well. My last question to you is just a follow-up. There are the markets underestimating the economic risks for 2024?
I think the market is ahead of us. Market knows it's not underestimating. It's factoring in the risk. But I think the market also knows that these kind of things are taken into account. The market also understands that, particularly the Indian market understands that the situation in India is pretty stable. The election victory of the BJP in the 3 states has given a huge fillip to the investors. They now are factoring in Modi government coming back to power, which means political stability. They also know that India's demography is very, very strong. The consumption, which is the growth engine, is firing at full throttle. So in every sense, the risk is factored in because the opportunities that India presents is much larger than the risk, the global risk. The other thing that the Indian economy is factoring in, and which is good, which is a tailwind, is that the China degrowth is going to help the economy because our export can go up. The FI's money will come back to India. I think 2024 will be the year where we'll probably have the highest amount of money, foreign investment coming into this country. So I think it's going to be a good 2024. A word of caution to the retail investors would be that they must understand that the growth is not going to be linear. They must be cautious about where to invest. They must have lower expectation. The expectation should not be more than 12 to 15%. If they're lucky, they can probably go to about 20%. Right. But my only feeling is that retail investors should not see the market as a lottery or a casino. They should caution judgment, and I think they will be rewarded well if they choose well.
Right, Dr. Singh. Let's hope that 2024 is good for the markets. But thanks very much for joining us in War and sharing insights with us.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to everybody.
You too.